Thank you. Assembly Member DIsmore.
Overseas trips to Zurich, Nice, Paris, Dubai, China and Kuwait. There's no problem with you promoting London overseas, to my mind.
Good.
Don't you think Londoners who will be affected by the schemes you discuss abroad should have the same amount of your valuable time to discuss with them the impact of your plans compared to the amount of time you spend with the overseas developers to whom you're paying court?
Well, as you know, Andrew, we have a abundant time here in these sessions of the Assembly, where you, as the heroic and elected representative of your constituency, as you still are, by your fingernails, you are able to put questions to me about any matter that you wish, and if I may humbly submit to you, it will be a better use of the time we have available to address the substance of whatever issue that it is you wish to raise.
Well, in 2013, you visited the Savoy Hotel 3 times. That's more visits than you made in Barnet, in my constituency. You came once to the Peel Centre, the Police College. Brent, you went to visit the Champions League final at Wembley. Again, not really meeting local people. And again, the Savoy saw more of you than Bromley, Brexley, Croydon, Enfield, Greenwich, Haringey, Hillingdon, Lewisham, Merton, Sutton or Richmond. You're officially a Zone 1 mayor, aren't you?
Well, you can pick out chunks of time where you can claim that over that period of time I haven't been to such and such a place as much as I've been to another place. I think it's pretty fatuous exercise, particularly when you consider that I have been out and about across London far more than my predecessor. Actually, you weren't around when my predecessor was here, but some other members will recall. I go regularly to all parts of the city, and I'm glad, I'm delighted that you've at least had that you've supported what I think is vital for London, that we continue to promote the city overseas and continue to attract inward investment.
Well, BBC Sunday Politics played clip after clip of you attacking your predecessor for spending more time in Havana than Henbury. Well, as you spent more time in Paris than in Purley, in Nice than in Neasden, and in Doha than Dagenham, you're nothing but a hypocrite, aren't you?
Well, you've probably spent more time in Southwark than you have in Southampton.
Southampton's not in London, is it?
This is a completely meaningless
Shows your
exercise.
Lack of grasp of geography of London if you think Southampton's in London.
It will be shortly. My territorial ambitions do not extend to Southampton before there's some misapprehension.
They will be relieved.
Well, I don't know. They'd be thrilled to get the Oyster card. We are. Look, let's be realistic. It is not possible to be everywhere at once. I think if you look at the timetable that I have, it is pretty punishing. It gets me out to the whole of the city pretty regularly. As I said in my opening answer, you will find chunks of time where you can argue that I've been in central London more than I've been in some parts of outer London. That is an inevitable part of the job, unfortunately. Here we are in Southwark. We are inevitably in Southwark quite a lot. Perhaps we could rotate City Hall around the outer boroughs. Perhaps, I think rather like the Euro Parliament. Perhaps we could rotate. Perhaps we could have a sort of system of the rotating siege. The seat of City Hall could be moved. How about that? That would be a very good use of taxpayers' money, wouldn't it, DIsmore? No.
I think there would be something to be said for taking the Assembly meetings like this around London, so people can see for themselves what a useless mayor you actually are.
Well, you're kind to say so, but people have the opportunity to come here, Andrew, and to see us and to listen to your brilliantly acute questioning, and to see what we do. And I think actually, by and large, people respect the City Hall and the Assembly, and they listen to the work that's done, and a lot of good work is done here.
Thank you. Assembly Member. Can we all?
When are they going to apologise for their dismal record in housing? Not dismal record, but dismal record.
We need calming down. Assembly Member DIsmore.
Oh, gosh.
Give it a go.
Okay, right. I'd actually like to test your London rental standard, Mr. Mayor, against a real case. I want to put to you the case of a Barnet landlord who has 15 properties in his wife's name.
In what?
I want to put to you a real case of a Barnet landlord who's got 15 properties in his and his wife's name and 4 in his company name.
Yeah.
We've spoken to 7 of his tenants, of which 6 are on housing benefit. Zoopla market rents estimates for these 6 properties range from £989 to £1186. The local housing allowance, which is obviously average over the whole of North West London, on which the maximum housing benefit is based, is higher, £1,300 for a 3-bed and £1,560 for a 4-bed. Rents were charged to these 6 tenants, not at market rent, but much closer to the LHA rate, and in 3 cases more than the LHA. All these tenants happen to be BME.
So I just can't hear what you're saying, Andrew.
I'm going to put this case, then I'll put the question to you. The BME rents were £1,350 to £1,846. This looks like an exploitation of the housing benefit rules and overcharging to the detriment of the public purse.
Okay.
The tenancies, I've seen the leases, which are assured short held for 12 months minus a day, permit rent increases by any amount at any time during the tenancy. Shelter say, quotes, we would almost certainly classify this as an unfair term, and not going to say it's probably illegal. We've talked at length to one of the tenants. I'll just put this particular case to you, and this is what she told us. She'd been a tenant of this landlord for 12 years on one of these leases. He subdivided the living room with a flimsy partition to create the 4th alleged bedroom. The landlord showed up at their doorstep completely unannounced late at night and asked the new lease to be signed. He only showed them the last page of the lease, pressuring them to sign the lease without reading it, and the most recent lease agreement had a named individual who witnessed the signing, but she never saw the witness before the lease was given to her pre-signed by the landlord and the witness. According to the terms of the lease, the landlord should give notice before showing up at the property, but he often appeared without any prior notification to discuss rent payments. In 2010, the rent was £1,792 per month. In March 2011, less than 12 months later, it was increased to £1,846 per month.
Yeah.
The LHA was £1,560, and Zoopla market rent was just £1,093. The tenant was informed by the landlord of discretionary housing payments, and he would make arrangements for her to go to Barnet Council to discuss DHP-related matters. The housing benefit was cut due to the benefit cap, but partially made up by DHA. The landlord agreed informally to accept the housing benefit amount, but did not waive the arrears. When discretionary housing benefit was stopped, he used the accumulated arrears as grounds to seek eviction. And when she was given the eviction notice, which took place on the 25th of March this year, the landlord deducted a sum equivalent to the lost discretionary housing benefit from the tenant's deposit once she was evicted. This is what she's told us. Do you think this is how a good landlord should behave? Exploiting the housing benefit system by setting rents above market level, and indeed above LHA, unfair lease terms, turning up unannounced, dodgy lease signing arrangements. Would this conduct meet your recently announced London rental standard?
Of course not, Andrew. From what, if I understood you correctly, now you must forgive me because I couldn't get all of it as you were reciting it. It sounds like a terrible case, but it sounds to me as though this landlord has broken the law. Am I right in thinking that?
Well, I think there's an argument, certainly in terms of relation to the terms of the lease and whether the lease is actually
I think in terms of misrepresentation of the terms of the lease, from your account, it sounded to me as though he had not been fair to the tenant. Now, that tenant should have protection under statute against that misrepresentation. Well, and I will certainly be very happy to assist you or to join you in any way that may be useful to vindicate the rights of that tenant.
Well, would it surprise you also to know the landlord was not a member of the London Landlord Accreditation Scheme set up in 2004, in which Barnet Council participates?
It would not surprise me in the least, but I think our first step in protecting the rights of your tenant, who you are rightly trying to help, should be to look at exactly how that landlord has behaved in terms of concealing elements of the lease from her at the time he got her to sign it. That seemed to me, prima facie, to be illegal, and it may well be that there is redress that could be obtained there.
Well, would it also surprise you to know the identity of the landlord? Because the landlord I've described is none other than the recently elected mayor of Barnet, Councillor Hugh Rayner, Conservative councillor, and the pre-signed witness was Conservative councillor John Hart. Well, as you've agreed to look into this, will you raise these issues with him direct as one of your party colleagues?
Well, I'm very happy to do so. I hope very much, Andrew, and it would be very unlike you, of course, to have calumnied in any way the reputation of any Conservative colleague of yours. I can't believe that you would be so underhand as to introduce any suspicion about the conduct of a
It's well researched. Here's the research, Mr. Mayor.
Member.
Here's the research. Here's the file of research.
If anybody has behaved illegally or wrongly in the treatment of their tenants, then the law is there to protect the tenants. And I suggest that what you should do as the assembly member concerned is establish that point. Work out whether you think an offence has taken place, and I believe you're a lawyer of some description, and then see what you can do to help that person.
Well, will you take it up as you agreed to do earlier?
Well, I will certainly be of any assistance I can, but I think the first thing that this person needs is a lawyer, perhaps even more able than you, to look at the matter and work out whether
it's not funny.
Whether there is.
This is not funny, Mr. Mayor. I know you're laughing. It's not funny.
Work out whether there is.
This is a serious matter. It's not funny. It's not a joke.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate that very much. I'm grateful to you for bringing this to the attention of the wider public. I'm sure that you had the courtesy to notify the councillor concerned that you were going to do this. Did you?
I'm finished.
Did you have the courtesy to notify the councillor concerned?
Mr. Mayor, we ask the questions by and large.
Well, I think it's a fair question. If the assembly member can't tell us whether he had the courtesy to, I think we will take his silences.
Assembly member Fiona Twycross.
Thank you.